There's a whole bunch of places that I really wish I could get access to. There's this one building in town in specific. The whole place is just covered in weeds and overgrowth. It's been abandoned for as long as I can remember. As far as I know though, there's no real way to get in. The doors are locked, there's no broken windows. And it's generally just a real bummer because I would love to photograph this place. I've went online trying to see who owns it. There's a website resource where you can see what buildings belong to what people. And then I have tried to find those people on various social media platforms to no success. These people are literal online ghosts. And plus, I'm not a huge fan of trespassing anyway, believe it or not. I like to get permission when I can, just because I'm not constantly looking over my shoulder. But this place is smack dab in suburbia. It's a block away from the library. It's another block away from a big theater. Even walking along the perimeter of this building makes me uncomfortable. Not because of the building itself, just because of who I'm afraid is going to drive by and see me there. This might be just a little more relevant, considering I had a gun pointed at me the other day. But there's multiple buildings like that in this town. Like this one that's literally right down the street. I don't even think that this building is possible to get into because every single door and window is boarded up. I've spent at least a decade of my life wondering what the hell is inside there. There are 3 buildings right next to one another, all of them are identical. And it's kind of interesting because they get nicer as they go along. Like the first one is completely abandoned, just broken down to shit. The second one is livable, but it's still a little rough around the edges. And the third one is nice. They're very close to one another and you can tell they were probably built at the same exact time. My entire life, I've wanted to go into these buildings, and I've never been able to. Again, doing online searches does nothing. I can't find the people that own the buildings. And even if I could somehow find them, I don't believe that they would necessarily let me in. Because it's a little hard to just walk up to a stranger and be like, hey, I take pictures of abandoned things. I noticed you have this abandoned property. Can I go in it? You just seem weird no matter what because it's a weird thing to be interested in. So there are days like today where I just intentionally aggravate myself and I drive around these properties hoping that maybe someone's there that owns the place, maybe someone's working on it. And then I can just be like, hey, can I take a couple pictures inside there? It's literally never happened, but it would be super cool if it did. What does end up happening though around 5 or 6 o'clock is I'll get hungry and I'll go to one of 2 or 3 of my favorite restaurants in town. My favorite, of course, being Harrington's. It's just your run-of-the-mill bar that hasn't been updated since the late 70s, I would say, but there's just something about it that I love. I love that the owner of the place is always sitting there watching TV. I love the Cody burger.
There you go.
Thank you much.
Enjoy. Thank you.
I love how authentically Keokuk it is. It makes me feel better about being in small-town America when I can go to places that are unique. And right next door to that place is yet another building that I would love to photograph. Haven't ever got the chance though, because I don't know who owns it. Up until a few years ago, this place was still in operation. It's really fallen to the wayside in recent years, but I remember it being a barbershop. I even remember the lady that owned the place. Right next door to that place was a music venue called TJ's House of Music. And I remember going there a lot with my dad. He would wait until the band's first set was over, and then he would ask them if me, as a 10 or 11-year-old, a novelty, could get up and play a song with the band. And some of my favorite memories are in that place specifically. It was converted to an electric company, and now it's just some kind of warehouse for that company. But this whole drag of buildings holds a very special place in my head. And this town is just one of tens of thousands of towns. I really do believe that every single town in America has something that makes it special, something that makes it uniquely them. And that's why I've become so obsessed about traveling to these towns, traveling to the places that you don't hear about. Like, nobody hears about Iowa anyway, but if you do, it's always Cedar Rapids or Des Moines or Iowa City. It's never these little small towns, and that's where the real soul of America lives. It's not in the cities. The cities are cool, but I don't think anyone really has that much of an attachment to them. At least not one that stretches beyond their own generation, because things are constantly evolving in cities. A lot of the places that I go to now are the same places my parents went to. They're the same places my grandparents went to. In some cases, they're the same places that my grandparents' parents went to. The colors of the buildings may change, but the buildings themselves don't. And I think that's incredibly special.
Picture my truck?
What's up?
Taking a picture of my truck?
The building here.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, not enough for you to block me in, man. You gotta fucking double block me. This is a fucking nightmare. So that's kind of my mission with this, I guess. It's not just to showcase, you know, the abandoned stuff in America. It's to show the soul. You know, to really bring out the personality of America. Because I feel like this whole country is kind of having an identity crisis as we all move to these major metropolitan centers and small towns get left in the dust. I think we're losing a little bit of our identity. And it's still there, you just have to look for it. And I don't feel like anybody really is. There's only about a week left of our campaign and we're pretty close to the goal. As of this video, we are here. I'm going to do live streams every night until it's finished. So make sure you come and check that out. And also, add me on Snapchat. This is the handle right here. Add me. I post daily updates and stuff there. It's much more personal that way, and I love that Snapchat just removes all evidence of its existence within 24 hours. It's a super cool way to spread the word without there being some trail of evidence behind you. Also, I bitch on there a lot, and for some reason, some of you seem to be into that. So add me. I'll see y'all on the live streams. Thanks for all the support.